Revealed. The incredible puppy's heartwarming journey of sacrifice that changed lives forever. In a quaint rural community where the rolling fields whisper stories of yesteryears and each sunrise holds a promise, there lived a golden retriever puppy named Max. With his playful barks and soft fluffy fur, he brought a sparkle of joy to Sarah, a single mother doing her best to raise her two spirited kids, Emily and Jake. Their family farmhouse, a weathered beauty that had seen generations of laughter, seemed to echo their struggles. The air smelled sweet of freshly baked apple pie, a cherished recipe passed down, a bittersweet reminder of better days when her family thrived. Sarah worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs, cooking at the diner, cleaning at the local school, and sometimes even helping neighbors in their gardens. Each coin earned was a step closer to keeping their home. But the weight of economic hardship hung heavy, threatening to turn the dream into a distant memory. Despite the hardships, Emily and Jake found happiness in simple things: running wild in the fields, splashing in puddles after the rain, and cuddling with Max, who seemed to magically mend their bruised spirits as the town prepared for an annual charity event meant to revive local businesses. A flicker of hope ignited in Sarah's heart. They needed it. The thought of losing the farm was unbearable. But then a tragedy struck that would change everything. While playing outside on a sunny afternoon, Max spotted a child stumbling into the path of a speeding tractor. Without hesitation, he leapt forward, putting himself in harm's way. The sickening crunch echoed as Max collided with the vehicle, his whimper piercing the serene day. And that moment, the town was forever altered. Max's act of courage ignited fierce debates among the villagers. Some rushed forward to help Sarah, offering love, prayers, and even donations for Max's costly vet bills. But whispers of doubt surfaced too. People began to question if a family like Sarah's was worthy of such help. The rifts of social prejudice tore through the fabric of their community. "Can you believe it? They're asking for donations, but do they really deserve it?" murmured a neighbor, eyes cast down. Sarah's heart sank. Could the very essence of community withstand this division? With every newfound ally came those who turned their backs, leaving Sarah and her family feeling more isolated. As another day faded, Sarah sat at their kitchen table, sharing a slice of that apple pie with her kids. Each bite carried sweetness and sorrow. Tears filled her eyes as her children reminisced about their puppy. The laughter strained. Life was not just about their family anymore. It was about their community grappling with the ugly truth of judgment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days slipped by, whispers of hope flickered as friends began to remember the bonds that once united them. They rallied together for Max, the little puppy whose bravery was redefining worth. But with every effort, the question loomed: could the cracks be mended? Or would this community fail to rise beyond prejudice? The charity event was just days away, and tensions were mounting. Would love and unity prevail? Or would lingering biases haunt them all? The answer felt just out of reach, and the hearts of many ached for the resolution that seemed necessary yet elusive. As the sun rose over the town, painting it in shades of orange and gold, the air buzzed with anticipation. The day of the charity event had arrived, and Sarah could feel the weight of it on her shoulders. She had spent the last few nights preparing, even when sleep felt like a distant memory. The kitchen was a whirlwind of colors: freshly baked cakes, pies cooling on the windowsill, and handmade signs for the bake sale that adorned their front yard. Emily and Jake were bustling with excitement, their youthful spirits a stark contrast to the heaviness in their mother's heart. They played outside with Max's favorite toys, pretending he was darting around with them, his barks echoing in their laughter. Every giggle felt like a wave of comfort, but also a tug at Sarah's heartstrings. She wanted nothing more than for Max to be there, to share these moments, yet his absence loomed like a shadow over their home. As the morning progressed, neighbors trickled into the farm, bringing baked goods and warm smiles. But Sarah noticed the split. While some came wholeheartedly, others approached with hesitation, glances tinged with doubt. The mixed reactions were palpable. You really think we should help them? One whisper carried across the yard. They're just trying to get handouts, another voice softly grumbled. Sarah forced herself to smile, thanking each visitor, but inside she felt her walls thickening. Did they see her as a burden? Did they notice the love woven into everything she did? A tight knot formed in her stomach, a reminder of the fear that crept in whenever she stepped out of her home. What would happen if this community continued to fracture? As the event started, the atmosphere shifted. Bunting decorated the yard, music played softly from a radio, and laughter rang out. People started to gather around Max's donation jar, a small, transparent container meant to hold hopes and healing. But Sarah felt a sting. The kindness they showed her felt overshadowed by the silent judgments that buzzed beneath the surface. Amidst this tension, an unexpected guest arrived, Mrs. Thompson, the town's elder, whose connections ran deep within the community. As she approached the donation jar, the crowd hushed. Her frail hands trembled slightly as she dropped a sizable bill into the jar, her voice warm yet firm. This young pup saved a child's life. We all need to remember that bravery comes in all shapes. And sometimes it's the smallest among us that teach us the biggest lessons. As her words floated in the air, many nodded in agreement, a ripple of goodwill breaking through the skepticism. Some began to step forward, sharing their stories of sacrifice and kindness, igniting conversations that had long been dormant. Sarah watched, her heart swelling with hope. There was a chance for change, a chance for love to bind this town together once more. But deep down, she felt the well of uncertainty. Could one puppy's sacrifice bridge the gaps of prejudice? Would this day truly mark a new beginning for their community? Just as she pondered this, a sudden commotion erupted at the back of the crowd. A little boy, the same child Max had saved, burst forth, tears streaming down his face. "Where's Max? I want to see him." His innocent plea rang through the air, stirring the gathered crowd. Everyone turned to stare, and Sarah's breath hitched. What might this boy reveal about sacrifice, community, and healing? Would his next words unite them or fracture them even further? The boy's voice cut through the murmurs and laughter, a piercing cry that sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. She crouched down, meeting his tear-filled eyes with her own. "Sweetheart, Max isn't here right now," she said softly, fighting the lump in her throat. "But he saved me. I want to thank him. He deserves it." His little hands clenched into fists at his sides, desperation painting his innocent features. The hush fell over the crowd, the atmosphere suddenly heavy. Adults exchanged worried glances, unsure how to handle the boy's distress. Sarah felt her heart crack open a little wider. It was one thing to remember Max's bravery, but seeing it reflected in the eyes of a child was something else entirely. "I know, honey," she whispered, "and we will always remember him." Around her the energy shifted. A woman stepped forward from the crowd, wiping tears from her cheeks. "Max was a hero, wasn't he? I remember the day he saved you. You were so brave too." A few people nodded, and the boy's eyes lit up as he listened. "Yes, Max jumped in front of me," he exclaimed, his voice stronger now, buoyed by the shared memories. "I don't want him to be gone." The boy sobbed, his tiny body shaking. "He should know how much he means to all of us." Sarah's heart ached. How could she explain to this child who deserved to feel safe that Max wasn't coming back? She glanced around, searching for support in the eyes of her neighbors. There were voters and farmers, friends and former foes. Their expressions held a mixture of sorrow and understanding. Determined, Sarah knelt to the boy's level. "Max did something very special, didn't he? He showed us what love looks like, what it means to be brave. And now we can honor him by sharing his story and being brave ourselves." A flicker of hope ignited in the boy's eyes. "Can we talk about him?" "Yes, let us talk about Max," Sarah encouraged, her voice ringing with newfound strength. "Let us share our stories and remember all the times he made us smile." As she spoke, others began to murmur in agreement, reminiscing about the lovable dog who had touched their lives. "Remember when he stole my sandwich?" One man chuckled, eliciting laughter from the children. In moments stories flowed like a river, a torrent of love and laughter washing away the sadness. There were stories of Max chasing squirrels, receiving countless belly rubs, and even stealing socks off the clothesline. For every memory shared, the air grew lighter, filling up with warmth, much like the golden sunlight streaming down. In that space, Sarah realized she was not alone. She had her community, and they were beginning to mend. The doubt that had loomed over her faded a little, replaced with a spirit of unity and healing. However, as their laughter echoed across the yard, Sarah felt an uneasy twist in her gut. The boy had ignited something in her, a question that loomed larger than the memories being shared. Could discussing Max truly change hearts? Or was it just a bandage over a deeper wound? Just before she could voice her concerns, a stranger stepped into the circle, a camera slung around his neck. He looked out of place, yet everything about him screamed urgency. "Excuse me," he called out, causing all conversations to halt. "I heard about the puppy story. Are you the family of Max?" Sarah's heart skipped a beat. What could this man want? A new chapter was about to unfold, but would it bring healing or more heartache? "Excuse me," the stranger repeated, stepping closer. The camera around his neck swung slightly, capturing every flicker of emotion in the gathered crowd. "Yes, we are," Sarah finally managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "I'm Sarah, Max's owner." The man's brow furrowed, and there was an intensity in his gaze that made her nervous. "I'm Tom, a reporter. I've been investigating stories of heroism in the community, and I heard about what Max did for that boy." He gestured toward the child, who still clutched Sarah's hand, wide-eyed and hopeful. Can I interview you? I think his story deserves to be told." Sarah exchanged a glance with the crowd. Some looked intrigued while others frowned, wary of bringing more attention to their grief. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I'm not sure if it's the time for that. This is still very raw for us." Tom leaned in, urgency threading through his tone. "But sharing his story might help. It could inspire others, help them see the power of bravery and love." The boy, sensing the tension, tugged at Sarah's fingers. "Please, Auntie Sarah. I want everyone to know about Max." His eyes shone with determination, and there it was again, the reminder that Max's sacrifice hadn't just saved him, but was also a catalyst for something bigger. Sarah weighed the choice in her mind. Could she trust this man? Yet, could she deny the boy's wish or silence the importance of Max's impact? "All right," she said, fighting to keep her voice even. "We can talk, but only a little right now. This is a tender moment for us." Tom nodded, the urgency in his posture shifting to respect. As they moved slightly to the side, Sarah felt the crowd pull back, their anxious murmurs swirling around them. It was daunting and scary, yet there was a flicker of hope too. "Tell me about that day," Tom urged gently, pulling out his notepad, poised to write. "What did you see happen?" With watery eyes, Sarah began recounting the events that had transpired. "It was a sunny day and we were at the park just enjoying a normal afternoon. Max loved to retrieve, chasing after anything I would throw. I had no idea." As Sarah spoke, the boy chimed in, eager to share his own version. "Max saw me running and barked. He jumped. He protected me." Each word dripped with admiration. Tom scribbled furiously, captivated. "And what do you think he would want us to remember about him?" "What he's taught us about love," the boy replied, his face brightening as he spoke. "And being brave. That's what we should keep talking about." Sarah's heart swelled with pride, but it was also grated with pain. She was letting herself walk down a path filled with memories that hurt but were essential. Was this the right choice? Did opening up only latch the wound tighter? As the interview continued, Sarah felt different layers of grief swirl inside her. Healing was necessary, but so was vulnerability. Each question drew more stories, and with each tale, laughter and tears merged, creating a bittersweet tapestry of a life well lived. Suddenly, Tom looked up from his notes, a gleam in his eyes. "Would you be open to a community gathering? A celebration of Max's life? Could help everyone process together." Sarah hesitated. A gathering sounded like a perfect outlet, but how could she stand in front of so many, reliving that pain? The boy squeezed her hand. "It would be for Max. He would want us to be brave together." Fighting the swell of emotions, Sarah made a decision. We can think about it." With a shared glance among the crowd, the pressure built. The courage of their words was palpable, yet an undertone of uncertainty persisted. For how long could they celebrate before their reality set in again? As the sun dipped lower, casting shadows through the trees, Sarah's heart ached for the choices ahead. What would it take to truly honor Max? The idea of a gathering loomed, and it was clear they were on the edge of something more. Could they really celebrate a life stolen too soon? Or would it reopen wounds across the community that felt too raw? In the depths of her heart, she feared the answer, for a journey of remembrance was only just beginning. What path would they choose next? The day faded, the soft hues of orange and purple spreading across the sky like an artist's brush on canvas. Sarah's heart was heavy, yet in the midst of her sorrow, she felt a strange stir of hope. She looked around at the crowd, seeing faces filled with compassion and admiration. Was it possible they could turn their grief into something beautiful? Sarah! A familiar voice broke through her reverie. It was Emily, her next-door neighbor, rushing toward her, her face lined with concern. I heard about Max. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Sarah replied, grateful for the warmth of a friend's touch. Is there anything we can do? Emily asked, looking over at the boy, who now played nervously with the grass. The tender innocence of his presence reignited Sarah's determination. We're thinking about gathering a celebration for Max. It felt like admitting a secret wish, one she hadn't dared to say out loud. Count me in, whatever you need. We can make posters, set up the park. Everyone loved Max, he deserves this. Emily's fiery enthusiasm poured over Sarah like a comforting blanket. Encouraged by her friend, Sarah let a flicker of hope dance within her. The idea of celebrating Max pushed against the walls of her grief. It was needed. It would bring people together, heal them. This gathering could become a bridge, connecting the pain of loss to the beauty of love. She glanced down at the boy. His face was lit up, as if the thought excited him. I want to help too, he declared, eyes sparkling like sunshine after the rain. Okay then, Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper, tinged with newfound courage. Let us plan it together. As they began to brainstorm ideas, the crowd around them buzzed with energy, opinions swirling like leaves in the wind. Sarah could hear snippets of conversations roused by her initial notion. Some were thoughtful while others were a bit skeptical, reflecting the complexity of their emotions. What if we share stories? Emily suggested. Everyone could take turns sharing how Max made an impact on their lives. Yeah, the boy chimed in, his excitement bubbling over. And we can write it down. Maybe we can put it in a book or something so everyone remembers. Sarah's heart ached at the thought of preserving Max's legacy. I love that idea. It'll show how much he meant to all of us. The community slowly began pulling together. Plans were sketched out, voices ringing with excitement amid the tears. For the first time that day, Sarah felt the weight of grief start to lift just a little. As twilight embraced them, she spotted Tom leaning against a nearby tree, his camera poised, capturing the moment. This is powerful, he said. An appreciative nod toward the boy and Emily. I think this gathering could echo beyond just today. It may inspire others in different ways. The boy beamed at Tom. Max would love that. But something flickered in Sarah's chest, an unsettled feeling. The gathering felt like a beautiful chance. But she couldn't shake the worry that it would all be a reminder of the void Max left behind. Would she crumble when faced with the reality of sharing such intimate stories? Will we really be okay? She thought, gazing out at her neighbors who poured their hearts into organizing, navigating their shared grief. As dusk fell, an undeniable energy filled the air. Yet, as Sarah stood on the cusp of something bigger, another thought sneaked into her mind. What if celebrating wasn't enough? What if they needed to delve deeper into what Max's actions represented, the bravery, the love, and even the brokenness of saying goodbye? The thought echoed, she needed guidance, insight. But what would she discover if she dared to dig into those emotions? The following days were a whirlwind of activity. Sarah hardly recognized herself as she moved from one task to another, fueled by a blend of nervous energy and anticipation. She had never been one to organize events, but taking charge felt like a tribute in itself, a way to honor Max. Emily became her right hand, and together they crafted posters decorated with bright colors and cheerful images of Max playing. The boy, whose name she learned was Oliver, eagerly contributed, drawing pictures of dogs and balloons. Each time Sarah caught a glimpse of their creations, a bittersweet smile lingered on her lips. But as excitement built for the gathering, an underlying tension clung to Sarah. Every small success was shadowed by her fears. What if it wasn't enough? What if the stories weren't powerful enough to fill that suffocating emptiness left in the wake of Max's loss? They decided to hold the gathering in a local park where Max used to chase squirrels and prance around with his canine pals. The day of the celebration, Sarah arrived early. The sun glinted off the dew-laden grass, making it sparkle like jewels. She hoped this beauty would remind everyone of the joy Max brought into their lives. As people started to gather, laughter and chatter filled the air, an unexpected balm to her worried heart. She took a deep breath, allowing the moment to soften her edges. But then the realization hit her. She would have to stand in front of them soon, sharing her own memories of Max. "Are you ready?" Emily asked, a gentle squeeze to her arm breaking through her nerves. "I think so. I want to be," Sarah replied, her voice shaky. Emily nodded encouragingly. "It's okay to be scared. It means it matters. Just remember, we're all here together for Max." With that, Sarah felt the fear dissipate at least a little. The gathering started with a circle of friends and neighbors sharing stories. They spoke of Max's goofy antics, the way he would dig holes in the backyard, the time he chewed up the garden hose, or how he had a penchant for stealing sandwiches whenever he could. With each story, laughter bubbled up, mixing with shared tears, creating a beautiful cacophony of grief transformed into joy. Sarah found the courage to step forward and share her own tale, her voice quaking as she spoke. "Max taught me about unconditional love. Every day he greeted me like I'd been gone forever, all wagging tail and slobbery kisses. He had this way of making everything else disappear. I miss him, but I want to remember him like this, joyful." Her words hung in the air, raw and sparkling with truth. As she glanced around, she saw people's eyes glistening, their nods reflecting a shared understanding. In that moment, one by one, they began to share their own deeper connections with Max. Every story dug a little deeper into their hearts, forging an unbreakable bond among them. But then, with one poignant story, everything shifted. An older neighbor, Mr. Thompson, a man with an unsteady voice but abundant grace, shared how Max had once chased off a pit bull that had approached his small toddler during a walk. He risked it all for her. Just a little pup with a huge heart. The silence that followed was thick. Sarah's heart began to race. What did that mean for everyone? What did that mean for her? Could she allow herself to think about bravery in the face of fear? To dive into the lives they could live in Max's honor? Just then Oliver spoke up. "Max showed us how love is the strongest thing." Gazing up at her, Sarah saw the spark of understanding in his eyes, and it ignited something deep within her. But just as hope warmed her heart, another voice caught her off guard. "What if we could do more? What if we could be like Max ourselves?" It was Tom, always ready with his camera, his gentle enthusiasm lighting the way. Everyone turned toward him, eager for his next thought. That single question hung in the air, swirling with the energy of raw emotion and possibility. What did it mean to embody Max's spirit beyond this day? Sarah thought, her pulse quickening. Wasn't he that the real challenge? And as the sun dipped below the horizon, closing the day with hues of gold and orange, she felt transformative determination rising within her. What would they discover next? Would they dare to live out Max's legacy in ways they had yet to imagine? As the sun set, the vibrant colors spilling across the sky seemed to mirror the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside Sarah. The gathering had taken a turn she hadn't expected, and in that moment of revelation, something shifted in her heart. What if we could do more? Tom's words echoed in her thoughts, each syllable igniting a light of inspiration. Could they truly channel Max's spirit? People began to chatter, exchanging ideas. Maybe we could organize something to help animals at the shelter? Emily suggested, her eyes shimmering with enthusiasm. Or a community cleanup, everyone coming together, just like Max would gather all of us with his endless energy. Another friend chimed in. Sarah felt herself getting swept up in the tide of possibilities. It wasn't just about honoring Max anymore. It was about living in a way that honored everything he stood for. The laughter and chatter around her became a rhythm, a heartbeat of creativity and hope. She looked at Oliver, who was bouncing on his toes, his face alight with excitement. What if we had a Max Day? We could have games, and we could collect donations for the rescue shelter. Yes, the group erupted, the idea like wildfire. Sarah watched the joy radiate off everyone, their faces glowing in the last light of day. This was more than just a tribute. This was a movement, a way to make Max's impact felt in the world. With a newfound sense of responsibility, Sarah raised her hands to gather the group's attention. Let us not stop at one day. Let us create an annual event. Imagine if we could inspire others to join us, to remember that love and bravery can change lives, just like Max did. A wave of agreement surged through the crowd. Eyes brightened and smiles widened. She could feel the energy shift, turning grief into action. In that moment, a small voice spoke up again. We can show others how to love like Max did. It was Oliver again, his innocence infusing the room with purity and determination. Sarah stepped forward, her heart racing. Let us organize committees, brainstorm ways we can fundraise, raise awareness, and most importantly, she paused, her voice catching. Let us share our stories so others can understand just how special Max was. His legacy isn't just ours to hold. It's meant to be spread. The excitement buzzed through the air, and hands shot up, each person eager to contribute. As she watched, Sarah felt the tight knot of grief begin to unravel. This wasn't just about remembering a beloved pet. This was about moving forward, about embodying the love and bravery he represented. As they began to outline plans and share ideas, Sarah felt lighter, almost giddy with possibilities. She wanted to create a space filled with laughter, love, and community just like the one Max had created in her life. But as the group started to drift into smaller circles to dive deeper into plans, an unexpected visitor appeared at the edge of the park. A scruffy dog, muddy and timid, stood watching them. A hush fell over the crowd as everyone turned their attention to the new arrival. Sarah's heart skipped. Could this be a sign? A symbol of everything they were discussing? Should we help him? Someone asked, a hint of concern tinging their voice. The energy shifted once more, curiosity and compassion sparking anew. Would they dare to welcome this unexpected guest into their mission, and embody what they had just agreed to create? Sarah felt a surge of clarity. In that moment, she knew deep down this wasn't just about carrying forth Max's spirit. It was a test of what they could truly become together. Would they take the leap beyond memories to make a real difference, starting with this very dog? With the sun sinking lower, casting long shadows behind them, Sarah stepped toward the dog. She had to know what would happen next. Sarah approached the scruffy dog, her heart racing with a mix of hope and uncertainty. The dog's fur was matted and dirt caked his paws. He stood still, his eyes wide and pleading, as if he sensed that this moment might change his life forever. Hey there, buddy, Sarah said softly, kneeling to get closer. The dog took a hesitant step back, but something about her voice broke through his fear. He tilted his head, curiosity flickering in his eyes. I think we can help him, Oliver whispered, stepping beside her, his small hand reaching out. He looks lost like us. The sweet innocence in his voice tugged at Sarah's heart. How many other creatures need a chance like this one? The group had gathered around, some crouching down to get a better look. Tom, his face serious, asked, what if he needs medical help? We can't just leave him. Sarah nodded, glancing back at her friends. We can bring him to the shelter, right? They'll know what to do. A ripple of agreement passed through the crowd as more and more people stepped forward, eager to support the unexpected rescue. It was a shared mission, one that felt profoundly connected to Max's spirit. As Oliver slowly extended his hand, the dog took another hesitant step forward. With a cautious nudge, he sniffed the boy's palm, his tail beginning to wag ever so slightly. You're safe now, Oliver whispered, laughter bubbling in his chest. Let us name him Max too, someone suggested, inspiring nods and smiles. This Max carries all the love the first Max gave us. This new Max seemed to settle in, realizing he was no longer alone. The heaviness in Sarah's chest began to lift, replaced by pure joy. They were going to save this dog, just as they hoped to save the spirit of the original Max through their actions. Can you believe this? We're going to help him, Emily exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. The group organized quickly, spreading out to gather supplies. People were pulling out their phones, making calls. It was beautiful chaos, the kind that filled Sarah with purpose. As they worked, Sarah felt a warmth spread through her. This was what it meant to act on Max's legacy, to not only remember him, but to allow his spirit to lead them toward compassion. Once supplies were gathered, a few volunteers took the lead and carefully approached the dog, speaking softly and gently. The crowd watched, their hearts collectively holding their breath. With careful hands, they secured a leash to his collar and worked to calm him down. Suddenly, The scruffy dog unleashed a low whine, his eyes darting around. The mood shifted. A wave of concern washed over the group. What if he's scared to come with us? Sarah's voice broke through. A tender reminder of the fear that had held them all back before. Maybe he just needs a little more time, Oliver said, his tiny face reflecting earnest empathy. Sarah felt a rush of inspiration. She turned back to the crowd, a brilliant idea forming in her mind. What if we all just sit down right here and let him come to us? Max would have wanted to feel loved just like we all do. Taking her own advice, she settled cross-legged on the grass. One by one, her friends followed suit, forming a circle around the dog. As they sat quietly, they began to murmur gentle words, sharing memories of Max and expressing their hopes for the future. It was an identifiable moment, a realization that their journey together had just begun. Slowly, the scruffy pup inched towards Sarah, his eyes softening. With each passing second, he moved closer, and soon enough, he was nestled against her. Tears brimmed in her eyes. It was as if Max himself had led this little soul right into their fold. In that moment, a deeper understanding washed over the group, more profound than any of them had anticipated. They weren't just trying to fill a void. They were building something beautiful. But just as the atmosphere turned into one of celebration and relief, Sarah noticed a woman standing at the edge of the park, her face marked with concern and worry. She glanced at the dog, and it was clear that something was more than just a casual encounter. Is she looking for him? Sarah whispered to Tom, her heart racing again. The woman took a step closer, her eyes filled with recognition. Please let it not be too late, Sarah thought, her heart pounding. What would this mean for the newfound Max? Would they have to say goodbye? The woman's footsteps seemed to echo as she approached, her eyes locked on the scruffy dog now nestled in Sarah's lap. A low murmur spread through the group as uncertainty filled the air. Everyone felt it, the tension hanging like a thick blanket, heavy and unyielding. Max? Is that you? She called softly, her voice trembling with desperate hope. Every word was laced with emotion, a mix of fear and longing. The dog's ears perked up at the sound of her voice, a flicker of recognition dancing across his face. Sarah's heart sank. She had known this moment could come. The joy they had felt moments ago was now overshadowed by a cold wave of reality. How could they do this? Would they tear Max from the safety and warmth of their circle? Is he yours? Tom asked, his brows knitted in confusion. We thought he was lost. The woman stepped closer, her eyes searching the crowd, finally landing back on the dog. Yes, I've been looking everywhere for him, she said, her voice shaky. I didn't know if I'd ever find him again. Tears glistened in her eyes, reflecting the sun like tiny stars. The new Max, still unsure, stood up and took a few cautious steps toward her. It was as if an invisible thread was pulling him closer, the connection between them undeniable. Sarah watched as the dog's tail began to wag once more, his excitement building. The woman knelt down, cradling the dirty dog in her arms, and Max responded immediately. He pressed himself against her chest, a dog reunited with its heart. Sarah felt the sting of tears in her own eyes as she held back the urge to cry out against the injustice of it all. We thought he needed us, she spoke softly, her heart heavy. We wanted to help him just like he helped us. The woman turned towards Sarah, her expression softening. I can't thank you enough for what you've done. Max means everything to me. But I also see how much he means to all of you. The crowd listened, a mixture of emotions dancing in the air, sadness for the looming goodbye and gratitude for the shared experience. Emily stepped forward, her voice shaky but clear. He was lost, but we found him. We made a family, even if just for a little while. Sarah felt a swell of hope mingling with the sorrow. This wasn't just a goodbye. It was a reminder of how interconnected they all were. Through Max they had discovered love beyond loss. For every heart that breaks, another can be stitched back together, sometimes in the smallest of ways. The woman nodded, understanding the bittersweet nature of love. I promise to keep his memory alive too. You've all given him something beautiful. As she turned, Sarah felt a shift in her heart as if something had settled in her chest. Maybe this is into the end, she whispered to herself, hope flickering inside her once more. Then Oliver spoke up again, his innocent wisdom breaking through the heaviness. What if we create a space here just like this? For dogs who need families and people who need friends? There was a wave of agreement, excitement creeping back in as ideas flowed freely among the group. Sarah could feel a buzz of renewed energy, and she couldn't help but smile. Together they could make a difference, inspired by the love Max had given. But just as they began to plan, Sarah noticed something strange. The woman with Max was looking back at her, an intense look in her eyes. "You all have so much kindness. But Max, there's something you need to know." Sarah felt her heart leap and her stomach twist. What could she possibly mean? His journey isn't what you think. You should know the truth about him. The air froze around them, a sense of urgency enveloping everyone as they waited for the revelation that could change everything. As the woman's words hung in the air, the crowd braced themselves, a collective breath held in anticipation. Max's journey was precious to them all. Yet the glimmer in the woman's eyes suggested it held deeper layers. "Max," she began, her voice steadying, "wasn't he just a pet? He was my therapy dog. He came into my life when I was at my lowest. He saved me." Her eyes sparkled with tears, underscoring her emotion. Gasps rippled through the crowd. They had rallied behind this dog, not realizing he was also a beacon of healing. "I didn't just lose him. I lost my support, my lifeline," she continued, her words flowing with purpose. "My family fell apart and he was all I had. He needed me too, and when he ran away my heart shattered." Sarah's heart swelled with compassion. "We found him, but he found us too," she murmured, overwhelmed by the interconnectedness of their experiences. The moment felt like a tapestry of shared sorrow and resilience. Each soul there had lived through their trials, and here they were, united by the joy and bravery Max had sparked. "You healed together, united by love," Tom said softly, his camera lowered as he soaked in the scene. "This bond, that's the truth of community. Max brought us all here." The woman nodded, allowing the crowd to absorb her story. "Let us honor him in a special way. We need to continue helping others like him, like me," she said, her gaze sweeping over the group. "There are countless souls out there who need love, just like we did. What if we built a gathering every year, not just to remember Max but to create support systems for families dealing with loss, depression, and anxiety?" Someone proposed, and a ripple of agreement flowed through the gathering. Sarah looked around, eyes sparked with glimmers of hope. "We could partner with shelters, raise awareness, and create a place of love," she said, excitement bubbling within her. The transformation they had all felt, like a phoenix rising from ashes, could be real, tangible. This was how to honor Max, by creating a community built on connection and empathy. Oliver squealed, filled with wonder. "Max's day can be a celebration of life and love. We can invite everyone." His enthusiasm brightened the mood again. The joy was contagious. Laughter and chatter erupted, plans igniting around them like fireworks. They began discussing ideas, sharing thoughts on how to spread awareness and support. Sarah organized everyone into groups, each tasked with creating specifics for the upcoming gathering. They brainstormed, gathered supplies, and even found ways to raise funds for the shelters, ensuring they could provide resources for animals and those who needed them. As twilight deepened, Sarah felt an unprecedented sense of purpose. The weight in her heart had transformed into something buoyant. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were tears of joy, of renewal. They had gone from loss to life, from isolation to community, all thanks to a little pup named Max. Suddenly, Oliver's voice echoed through the crowd. "We did this together. Just like Max brought us together." A hush fell as everyone absorbed this realization. Max had been their bridge to unity. Now it was their duty to carry that spirit forward. As the stars twinkled overhead, Sarah took a moment to gaze around. Faces filled with hope and purpose reminded her of why this journey mattered. In this darkened park, illuminated by a shared vision, they had found each other. And in doing so they had embraced the true legacy of Max, the idea that love, bravery, and community can change lives forever. "Let this be the start of something beautiful," Sarah declared, her voice ringing with conviction. "Max taught us to love fiercely, and it's up to us to carry that forward." And as the stars twinkled, a chorus of voices erupted around her, powerful and unwavering. "For Max!" They cheered, their laughter echoing into the night, a testament to a love that would never fade. Every heart present was bound by the memory of a little golden retriever puppy whose sacrifice had changed lives. In the twilight glow, emboldened by hope and driven by purpose, they held on to the promise of new beginnings, ready to create a legacy that would continue to flourish long after that day. And with that promise came a resolve, the kind that demands action and involvement from everyone present. This was the moment to forge an unwavering bond within their community. So now to you, dear viewers, this is your moment too. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next inspiring stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and push this message of hope forward. Comment below and share your feelings about this journey and what you would do to make a difference. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Spread the love just like Max did. You need to support this channel. Don't wait not even one more second.